I've moved to San Diego for 2.5 months now. As the end of the year approach, I think it'll be good to. I'm planning to do this a little bit more often in the future anyway. Then maybe every 3 months, every 5 months, when there's something significant happening. I just want to give a little bit of update how it feels like. In today's video, we're gonna talk about training, like how's training's been for the last 2 months. How my diets, like one thing that I'm trying to do is like to lose weight, and how that has been going. What am I doing outside of training, and a couple of futures prospect. I think it's gonna be quite interesting, because the next half years, I think it's gonna be quite pivotal in terms of like the significance in my life. Because whether we make it or not, I think it's gonna be quite evident in the next half year. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about this. The first thing first, it's training. This is still like in the last 2.5 months, I'm mostly in preseason training. There's a lot of things about, this is the phase that we're about to get fit. Soon, in about a week, we're gonna enter the season, like in season training. Things gonna ramp up. Coach and I talk about our full year plan, which I can share here, which is very interesting to look at. And but in this past 2 months, it's mostly about fixing a couple of things. One thing that I struggle with, I didn't know. I thought this is something that I should do, which is to give 100% at all time. But then coach yelled at me, he's like, "Oh no, you're gonna do things rhythmically and correct the posture. You have to do it right first before you can do it fast and strong and powerful. If the alignment of things are wrong, the rhythms are wrong, you're not building off like a good foundation. You cannot add speed on top of like a shaky foundation." So that's one thing that we've been fixing. There's a lot of sprinting. I've not touched the high jump pit for 2.5 months now, but like we're just working on like strength, balance, rhythm, body awareness, a lot of that. And you can see a stark difference between like an earlier sprint, which I show here. It's not exactly at the very beginning because I already like got a couple of memo in, but I'm still getting off my start really, really fast at a very, very high rhythm. Now actually, I slightly strained my adductor a little bit, like the inside of my thigh, my left thigh a little bit, just because being that high frequency is actually not fast and it's not efficient, and it put a lot of strain in my inner thigh. And I'm glad that I catch it now instead of like getting stronger and pull it later, because it took me like, I don't know, like 3 or 5 days to bounce back, and it comes back and goes away like every 2 weeks or so. But now I'm like good. So in a later video that you can see here.
Okay, good job, Case. Look at that. It only took a month, but now you look like a sprinter.
In the later sprint, I'm trying to really push through the inertia that I have and be really rhythmic, and really I feel way more efficient. And one thing that you can tell by how much more efficient you are, or this is getting better, is how much the sprint push you down the track. Now when I come out of like the drive phase, I'm already like 30 meters down the track. And even though I'm doing a lot of short sprint, so I'm not like going full track, but even though with the intention of like, I'm gonna do 40 meters sprint, once I exit, I'm already almost like at like 80 meter 90 meter point when I'm like fully slowed down, which is in comparison to like an earlier sprint. I drive out really high frequency, and after 30 meter, I already feel like I hit a wall. But now it's like smooth sailing, like just push me down the track, which is something that I learned. I think it's like super cool. But yeah, like training, we've been mostly focusing on, things like that. And I've been getting into the routine of like, really warming up. Like in the past, my warm up could be, I don't know, 20 minutes. And I don't know what else to do. That's not like I don't want to warm up more, but it's just I don't know what to do before tiring it out. Now my warm up take an hour, and I feel good. And because I have all the time that I need, is actually like working quite well. The next thing is about diet. I'm right now sitting at about like 73 kilo. And this is the chart of like my weight since I get to San Diego. At the very beginning, you know, I actually have like quite a lot of progress. And my goal is by next May, I want to sit comfortably around 67, 68 kilogram. And that is like 150 pound. And the reason is, you know, high jump is fighting against gravity upward. You know, the leaner, the less mass, the higher the power to mass ratio it is, the better it's a high jumper. I think, you know, that's just physics. And I have been lighter in the past. It's just once I moved to America, especially in the 4 years that I didn't train, I get used to, you know, fat. And I don't like that. Now I gotta trim down. I'm not doing like huge cut that I'm gonna cut 2 kilo per month. That's gonna kill all the muscle that I have and it's gonna make me prone to injury. I'm not doing that. But my target per month, it's gonna be about 1 kilo per month. That's a good pace that I can probably maintain the level of energy expenditure that I need for training. And at the same time lose weight such that I can get leaner and leaner. And I'm sure, you know, once we get into in season, I need to adjust the diet again. But that's the goal. That's where I want to go in. You can see from the chart that I had, like at the very beginning in October and November, valiant effort, you know, we go straight down. It was probably like some water weights, but also I was like being more cautious. And then December hit, you know, there's like Nerups that I meet with a bunch of friends, but that was like one day. But one thing that I found, probably I'm gonna make another video about it. It's nuts are really bad for diet. I don't know what crazy, you know, smoke people I've been smoking, but whoever recommended like, oh, nuts is a healthy snack, 14 almonds, just like, I don't know, 70 or 100 calorie. Dude, no shit. But every time I eat almond, walnut, or macadamia nuts, I can't stop eating. That's the problem. They're too damn tasty. And you know, there's a couple of like pitfalls that I fell in December, so that you can see like in December I actually like plateau and gain a little bit of weight comparing to like the beginning of December, and I'm trying to like actively suppress that right now, which is a little bit like brutal, but we'll see how it looks like in a week. I'm gonna make like a longer videos on what works for me and what are the trade-off between different, you know, food. How is my diet looking? How do I make my diets and, you know, food plan still tasty? I enjoy food a lot. And I think, you know, if anything, the hardest part of training is probably like keeping a good diet. But we'll see, you know, I don't know. Like once we get into season, maybe I get like hosed by these like negative weights, right? So yeah, like more to come. I want to make a video. I think it's very interesting because if you go online and you're trying to find like, you know, pretty extreme diets, you're not gonna find that many of them. Like not like high jumpers. I think high jumpers are the if you can take high jumpers diet as a template, you can lose any weight or achieve any goal, because the bodybuilders they just have to put on muscle, right? You know, and they don't have to move around. We have to do all that while moving around a lot. And like I did a DEXA scan actually, and you can see the report here that I'm showing. You know, there's a couple of, I'll probably like make a video like putting the DEXA scan and the diets together, which makes more sense. Now outside of training and diet, what am I doing? So how does my day look like these days? Actually these days I wake up super early. So usually I wake up around 4, and you know, like eating and, you know, shitting, that takes around like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then I'm like sitting down to work. And every day I have 4 hours budget for work, and after that I'm like clocked out. So my training is usually around 10, so like, you know, I usually end my shifts around 9. And most of my clients and like people that I work with are like on the East Coast, so that's perfect. It's like 8 to 12 for them, and maybe 5 to 9 here in the morning for me. So and I get the workout, and then I move on to my day, you know, training, eating, relaxing after coming back from training. So that's good. I think the work side's been working quite fine for me. I'm still earning decent amount of money to sustain my lifestyles. I don't need to worry about anything. So that's very good. Another thing that I am working on, and I'm actually quite proud of myself, is I get more time to read. I actually unpacked all my books recently. There's some of them back there in the book. I get a bookshelf. That's crazy because in the past 3 years or 4 years, all my books is just like in a box. And because I was living in New York and get no space to unbox them. And when I was in Baltimore, I have no time to read them, so I didn't bother to unbox them. But now I have time to unbox them and I can read. I've been reading a lot of different things. I've been reading physics again. I'm actually taking my time going through things. I'm reading pure math. I never had a really strong pure math background because I come from a physicist, data science, statistic background. So I always felt like there's a lot of holes. I think I talked about this in my previous video, that I have a lot of holes in my knowledge. So I'm like slowly patching them. I'm learning new things. So I'm really glad that, I have these time for reading that is really chill as well. I don't need to read to catch a deadline to produce something. I just read to learn about things. And I think it's actually excellent. And I'm producing at my own pace a self-studying guide that is going to be mostly for me again. That is hosted on GitHub. Here's the link. And people can follow along with the journey. It's going to be quite wacky because it's mostly tailored for me. I don't intend to write it for others. But yeah, we'll see what it does. There is a couple of personal projects that I'm going to keep it as a secret that has to do with writing that I found, every night. Because I'm trying to stay off screen a little bit before bed, a couple hours before bed, which is kind of interesting. But outside training and thinking about food all day, mostly, just working and, taking time to learn to relax. In the past decade, I've been, just hitting like mark after mark, hitting goal after goal. And now it's the first time that I can learn, wow, I can take things slowly. I can just wander around. It's not like I'm going to scale this mountain and that mountain after this one like that. It's just, I'll learn about linear algebra again. I'll learn about stochastic calculus, learn about graph theory, stuff like that. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. That's like outside of training, how things look like. Now, future prospect, which I think is quite interesting because today it's December 28th that I'm recording this. I'm sure I'm going to splice in a couple of more clips maybe in the following couple of days. I don't know when this video is going to come up. But I think next the coming 6 months, it's a critical mental check for me because in March I think there's a couple of competition in Hong Kong that I want to go to qualify for the national championship in May. Training is gonna ramp up really, really soon. There's a couple of competition. Diets has been, brutal in some sense. Like every meal, I enjoy every meal. It's like they taste good. Problem is in between meal, especially if I'm working, oh man, this box is like bugging me, and then you naturally want to chew on something. All right, that's about it.